This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com in review. Let me right off the bat say I have nothing against Dylan O'Brien as an actor. I actually think he's a pretty interesting actor. He is charismatic. He does commit to a role. As I said, I have no issues with this guy. The thing is, I've been just a tad less complimentary about the movies he's appeared in, such as The Maze Runner and The Scorch Trials. And I haven't even seen A Death Cure yet, and I'm pretty sure it's going to suck. That's not a personal thing, though. I actually think he is an interesting screen presence, and is not a bad actor. But oftentimes he gets involved with films that are just not very good. And that's, well, he did Sign, so I guess that's his fault as much as anyone else's. In any case, what I'm talking about today is American Assassin. And this movie makes no sense. It actually starts off pretty promising. O'Brien's character is on a vacation with his girlfriend, who he's going to propose to marry, in Spain. I don't recall the exact city in Spain, but he's on a beach and he's going to propose to his girlfriend. And these men, these armed men, appear and begin shooting up everybody. And this drives O'Brien's character to decide that I want to kill terrorists. Now, I'm not questioning the anger. I'm questioning the whole terrorism thing altogether. Because from watching the movie, I thought these were it was like a drug incident. As in military arms of drug cartels. It didn't feel like a terrorist incident at all. Now keep in mind something. Terrorists, by definition, cause terror, fear. Now, I'm not referring to terrorism in the general sense of the word. I'm talking about terrorism as in terrorist networks. And what happened to him, was Ibiza, Spain? Maybe it was Ibiza. But in any case, I didn't get terrorism from this at all. I got drug gangs from this. So the idea that he suddenly gets this mad on for terrorism doesn't really make sense in the context of the narrative. Now keep in mind something. If this narrative were more worked out, you could do it. It's not rocket science. You could make the connection between the violence that happened on that beach and terrorism. You can do that. But the movie has to invest the time and effort to make that connection viable and very, very visible. But it doesn't. So you have the violence on the beach at one moment, and suddenly he's a terrorist hunter. It's really odd. And as I said, there's a disconnect between it. And also, he suddenly is able to gain access to all these terrorist networks that our own covert operations aren't able to do, which is like the dopiest idea. It's just silly, and it says movie all over it. Though those are pretty bad things, but it's not the worst thing about American Assassin. The worst thing about American Assassin is that it initially starts out as a relatively small, almost intimate movie, and changes to fucking James Bond, where the stakes are literally a nuclear bomb going off at some point. It's like, oh my God, this started off so promisingly. Even with the underexplained terrorism angle, it was enjoyable. And Dylan O'Brien, he acted very well. Though, if I can say something right now, the idea that Dylan O'Brien can outfight Scott Adkins is the dopiest thing I've ever heard of in my life. Now, I understand it's a movie, but I can't suspend disbelief that long. If you've seen Scott Adkins in movie, the man is an animal. He's played in Doctor Strange. He's played in more fighting martial art types movies than I can even recall. He is actually a really good fighter in reality. And that Dylan O'Brien, who he bulked up slightly for this movie. He is not Scott Adkins. There is no way on earth that should have happened. But I'll give Dylan O'Brien props. He at least made it look plausible. But anyone who has seen anything Scott Adkins has appeared in, and he's appeared in a lot, trust me, not hard to find a Scott Adkins performance in a movie. This is just ludicrous beyond. I mentioned earlier that the plot revolves around a nuclear bomb. That nuclear bomb plot is more logical. That nuclear bomb plot makes more sense than Dylan O'Brien beating up Scott Adkins in hand-to-hand combat. Absolutely ridiculous. And that's not Dylan O'Brien's fault. As I said, I have no malice against this person. I don't know him. But it's the idea that this is written in such a ludicrous manner. As I said earlier, if this were a smaller, more intimate movie that spelled out why events are happening and why the lead character does what he does, it would make a hell of a lot of sense. Though the idea that just because he has a mad-on against terrorism, he's somehow connected to the upper echelons of the American spy apparatus and becomes part of this elite team, that's just dopey. It's a silly plot, and it's cartoony. And the problem with that is that this movie is very realism-based. That to take liberties with, I don't know, common sense is really irritating. And the nail in the coffin for me, for American Assassin, is that it has such strong actors. Hell, Michael Keaton, David Suchet, Sanaa Lathan, Tyler Kitsch, or is it Taylor Kitsch? But the guy from John Carter. It has Scott Adkins. It has a lot of good actors in it. A lot of capable actors that they're failed by this silly script. Just really it kind of irritates. This is not a bad movie. It's just a stupid movie. It's just a nonsensical movie. And frankly, I'd rather take a bad movie over a good movie that is stupid and nonsensical. This is Brian of ScreenFiles.com and Review. Peace.